I got tired of hearing it again and again and again. I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to wear this. And that's because people are not sympathetic to the background of where this film is coming from. Alhamdulillah, I met him just a few years ago. Somebody gave him free laser treatment, got all of it after like decades. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless him. But the point is, we need to understand where people are coming from. Because not only is it important, it can cause so much harm if we don't. There was a documentary produced in 2014 called Unmasked. And what Unmasked was a documentary about second and third generation Americans who were born in this country. They don't feel welcome inside of the masjid. And they're saying, the masjid is a place where people are always judging me or they're looking at me or whatever it may be. Now, the response to that could be, well, Americans who are born here, especially like middle-class Americans, they're very entitled, and they have such high expectations, and you have to treat them with like silk gloves and Gen Z and all of that stuff. And that's a legitimate criticism. At the same time, on the flip side, that's their culture. That's the environment in which they've grown up. If the Bedouins were rough, then American youth, especially like middle-class type American youth, they're softies. And if you yell at them or if you do something, it'll internalize and then I want to go to the masjid anyway. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are mixing and having a balance between having good adab, good etiquette, good manners when it comes to any place, especially when it comes to the masjid. We should be balancing between being welcoming and having good adab and good respect. Now, going back to the story, this does not mean that somebody walked into this masjid and they started to urinate in the corner and you'd be like, well, according to an authentic hadith narrated by Imam al-Bukhari, the Prophet peace be upon him said, we're not going to do anything to that person. No. The background of that man who walked in was a different background. If that was a man from the tribe of Quraysh from Mecca, if that was a noble person from the city of Medina, the Prophet would have had that guy escorted out. Not everybody gets a slice, but the lesson is that we need to look at the background of people. We need to create a welcoming culture while also showing a level of respect. And I gotta give it to this Islamic Center. This is the only masjid that I've seen. One thing I love about it, the only masjid that I've seen, I've been to hundreds of masjids across the world. Only one that has a welcoming table. Really cool, it's actually quite welcoming. You don't know what's going on, where do I go? You actually have somebody like sitting at a welcoming table, and especially for children. It's really cool. So we should have this in our mind that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was an extremely welcoming person. And he understood the background of people. And that is the model we are supposed to emulate. Always think about who you're talking to, how you're going to talk to them, and where they're coming from. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for our mistakes and our shortcomings and our faults. Ameen astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa lisa'il muslimin to deal with them. Because they act in a very different manner. So this book talks about how they're different. It says several of them may have mental illness. So you have to be careful how you speak. Some of them, they speak different. They view the concept.
Ini seraku apa? Mana? Kalau cumi nyari gue ini. Ini mah.
Penarikan udang.
Mantap.
Walau tunggal maju sekarang.